The RGM will begin a systematic process of identifying, publicly naming, and where necessary, peacefully confronting in what we've called kusalimia, these judicial actors who have chosen to weaponize the law against the people instead of protecting them.
ETV Africa News at this hour.
We are also deeply alarmed by the disturbing trend of a few complicit judicial officers imposing excessively punitive and unaffordable bail terms on innocent Kenyans who are maliciously charged. And we saw this at Kahawa law courts. These high bail amounts, clearly designed to punish rather than uphold justice, have resulted in many of our comrades languishing in remand, robbed of their freedom, separated from their families, and unable to contribute to the very economy they are accused of destabilizing. Let it be clear that we see these actions as judicial terrorism in service of state repression. The RGM will begin a systematic process of identifying, publicly naming, and where necessary, peacefully confronting in what we've called kusalimia, these judicial actors who have chosen to weaponize the law against the people instead of protecting them. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. We demand immediate and unconditional release of all those arrested for exercising their constitutional rights. We also demand independent investigations into the killings and injuries sustained during the protests Sabasaba and June 25th. And we demand full accountability for those responsible, including senior officials who authorized the use of lethal force. We want to make it unequivocally clear that we do not answer to any so-called opposition parties. The Revolutionary Gen Z Movement, RGM, is not a political tool, and we reject the pretense of some leaders who believe they can dissuade the Gen Zs from demonstrating. We are not the youth wing of any political party. We do not answer to any opposition leader. Our loyalty is to the people of Kenya, especially the youth who are on the front lines, risking their lives for a better country. Our movement is driven by lived realities of young Kenyans, not by political calculations. We reject attempts by the ODM leader, the Honorable Raila Odinga, and others to pacify our movement through hollow calls for dialogue. Our demands are clear, urgent, and non-negotiable. They do not require negotiation. They require action. We also wish to alert the public to the government's alarming efforts to sponsor youth militia under the banner Youth for Ruto 2027, YR27. This group, launched on June 25th, bears disturbing similarities to the infamous YK92 that terrorized Kenyans in the early 1990s. These state-backed goons have no place in a democratic society and will not be tolerated. Their mission is to infiltrate the movement, disrupt and intimidate legitimate youth-led movements, and we will resist them with every tool of peaceful protest and civic action available to us. If the government fails to respond to our calls for justice and accountability, we shall continue to organize peaceful but powerful resistance. We shall amplify the voices of the marginalized, and we shall sustain the nationwide protests throughout the year, despite intimidation, arrests, and killings. We remain undeterred. We reaffirm our unshakable commitment to defending the dignity and rights of all Kenyans. Finally, we mourn the lives lost. We honor the wounded, and we reaffirm our commitment to justice, dignity, and the power of the people. The movement is here to stay. We are not afraid. We are not backing down. We are not for sale. Aluta continua. So I'll welcome my Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions approved charges of terrorism against peaceful protesters. So those charges are malicious ab initio and should not have actually passed through the desk of the advocates at the Office of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. Of course, the police decides what they charge you with. We have no control of that. But then we expect that there should be some reasonableness at ODPP. And that then means that the ODPP is part of, is part of this mess, sorry. At the same time, historically, it's known that should police arrest people protesting, which is actually illegal, then there are charges that people are charged with, like unlawful assembly, maybe breach of peace, or something like that. But witnessing young people who went to the streets with flags, chanting and singing patriotic songs, being charged with terrorism, that is one of those things we call impunity, where people do something wrong and they tell you, Mutadu, what will you do? They charge you with something very unreasonable, and then they tell you, what will you do? Because we are in this office and we are capable of charging you with anything.